Mr. March, Tom Izzo, takes Michigan State back to the Sweet 16.
It's never been sweeter if you're a Princeton fan than right now.
The Zags make it 8 straight Sweet 16s.
We just did something that was that's unbelievable. We just shocked the world.
Don't call it a comeback.
Hey, March Madness is back.
I know it is, but not for long. It's going by too fast. In the meantime, though, we do have comeback stories coming at you from Princeton to Spokane.
And the Jets are hoping that Aaron Rodgers can be that missing piece. Also, Ted Lasso's back for the 3rd season. Shek, you gotta believe. From Wondery, I'm Ryan Shazier.
I believe. And I'm Dave Damashek.
And this is Don't Call It a Comeback.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been waiting on this moment my whole life. Can't call it a comeback. Everybody to your feet, make arenas rise. Yeah, I'm saying from the left to right, we get it on tonight. We do it all, but we don't back down. Just give me one shot, one chance, I'ma take it. Fixing up the game, but these records I keep on breaking.
Hey, Shek, let's get into all these March Madness comebacks.
Your wish is my command, 5-0. 13 seed Furman got the madness started with a comeback win at the buzzer to knock out 4-seeded Virginia.
Clark in a straight jacket. Oh, he didn't need to do that. He threw it away. Ping, Padis. Good! Furman leads. Timeout, Virginia.
Princeton got the Ivy League back in the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2010. And it's not just Princeton. 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson knocked off number 1 Purdue. Jersey's making a comeback, I guess.
Do you believe it? For just the second time ever, a 16 beats a 1.
Coach K, Jim Boeheim, and Jay Wright all said goodbye, but fellow great Tom Izzo is back in the tourney for a 25th straight season. What a record that is. And Sparty is on its way to the Sweet 16. And so is Gonzaga back in the Sweet 16 for the 8th year in a row. Can Drew Timme and the Zags be stopped?
Drew Timme thought about the 3. Oh, he'll take it. The Zags, all-time leading scorer, has another 20-point game in the NCAA tournament.
All right, for more on all these tournament comeback stories and more, we've got a March Hoops vet here with us. He played for Coach Jay Wright at Villanova and won a title there in 2016. He's going to be in season 2 of Winning Time, but right now he's covering the tournament with Twitch Sports. Darryl Reynolds, welcome to Don't Call It a Comeback. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Thank y'all for having me, man.
What's up, Darryl? I heard a few people calling you Ray, so you prefer Ray or Darryl?
I prefer Ray. And I'll give the quick backstory. In college, I'd always sign my signature as D.Ray. One day, Chris Jenkins saw it and he was like, I like that. And then we were watching the movie Life, and one of the main, Eddie Murphy's character was named Ray. And they was like, they saw a lot of similarities. So Ray or D.Ray stuck. That's where it's from. That's all my story.
My wife loved that movie Life. So I can stick with the Ray.
My God, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I love Winning Time, so I look forward to seeing how you are as an actor.
Oh man, it was fun. It was I can't wait to see, because I don't know what it's gonna look like. You know what I mean? I was like, it feels right. We're gonna see.
All right. Hey man, so let's get into this. So upsets, they have been going crazy this year. Number 16, Fairleigh Dickinson, where nobody knows where that school is at.
Yeah.
Beats Purdue. This is the second time in history that a 16 has beat a 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think it was going to happen again. Both happened in the last 5 years. Do you think Cinderellas are making a comeback? Like, do you think this is something that's happening more often now?
Absolutely, man. And that's the beauty of this time of year. You have these powerhouses like the Gonzagas. I can't say Duke anymore, but like the Michigan States, let's take them for example. You have these powerhouses that's used to being at the top 3 of their conference, marching through the year for the most part, because they're going to have it. And then this time of year is that time of year where it's like anything can happen. Anybody can pop out. This is when breakout players, happen. You see so many guys up there stock in the draft or overseas or wherever it may be, because a lot of these guys, like players at DU or FAU, don't get the national stage all the time. So I definitely think Cinderella's making a comeback, and it's for the better. You know what I mean? It's what makes college basketball fun.
It's true. Upsets have always been a big part of March Madness, but I'm older than both of you guys. And talking about Villanova, I remember in '85, to my eyeball, to my little kid eyes, looking at that one, it was clear that Georgetown was the much more physically imposing team. Villanova looked like a Cinderella. Now, even 16 seeds, 14 seeds, and otherwise, there isn't, to your eye, a huge difference between these blue blood, Power 5, highly ranked teams and these so-called Cinderellas. Is that the big difference, is that there's saturation in college basketball and there are good players everywhere on every team these days?
Yeah, and I dare I say the one thing that I would have to obviously point out that helps that is the transfer portal. You have so many of these guys that, like Imani Bates, like you have guys that go to these schools, they do good. If it doesn't work out, next thing you know, they're going to X, Y, and Z. He was a bad example, UCLA. But I'm trying to think of the young man's name that went from Memphis to, there's so many of them, sorry. Memphis to
there are a million stories. I mean, you could plug in about 36 different names and be correct about it.
Exactly. And I think that, but also, like, if you look at it for what it is, sports technology was the huge separator back then. The idea that a Georgetown traveled a certain way, could recover a certain way, they had access to all these things. Now it's like, it's kind of like social media. Like, if you have the tools to make it, everybody has a foam roller. Everybody has a Theragun. You know what I mean? So it's no longer this obvious, oh, that team's going to last longer because they have better resources. They're better prepared. It's no, the playing field's a little more level. Let's see who can go through a whole season. Yeah,
so the thing is, what's so crazy with Purdue is I feel like that was just an upset brewing for every game they played this year.
Yes.
Because of just the way they play ball. You can't just have Yao Ming out there not playing. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work like that. So the thing is, I want to ask a question is, so it's good to see all these Cinderellas making comebacks, right? But for the schools that are Alabama's, Houston's, now, if you're that school, what does it look like for you when you see a Fairleigh Dickinson that you have to go up against now? You know, because like they were not expected to beat the first team, so like they're already on a high. You know, so like what are these schools thinking?
I mean, I think for these bigger schools, like always, it's been trap games. You know what I mean? You kind of overlook a Fairleigh Dickinson. It's like, whatever. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, you come out there to play. It's funny you mentioned them because the way they beat Purdue was almost the way they beat FAU. And FAU was like, we got to take this big dude out and go smaller because they're like very good at slicing you with the guards. But this time of year comes down to, in large part, coaching. You know what I mean? You kind of saw that with Kansas missing Bill Self on the bench. That kind of hurt them in that Arkansas game. It's so many factors that goes into this time of year. It kind of makes sense that those bigger schools, like you said, Alabama or somebody would be like, all right, now we have to be on our toes a bit more. But that's what you love. Like, you love to see them come out and respect these teams. Or you like to see them beat. I don't know. I like seeing a good game. I don't want to see.
No, I like to see a good game, but I feel like when a 16 beat a 1 or, a 14 beat a 13 beat a 4, now it's like cleaning the slates for some of these schools that already were probably going to win a championship anyway.
Yes.
I'm curious, as we talk about the heavyweight teams, how much of this, the rise of more and more comebacks and the regularity of 13s beating 4s and on down is owed to the best programs that have the easiest time recruiting, losing those kids after 1 year versus mid-tier programs probably holding on to all their recruits through the entirety of their 4 years at college and the advantage that provides?
I think it's huge. I think like any other league, the playoffs it's a vet's game at that point. You know what I mean? And you have one of these teams that, like you said, remember back, don't call it a comeback, but like in the 2010s, if you look at a lot of the schools that upset them, unless I'm tripping, like Butler, St. Joe's with Delonte Weston and Jameer Nelson, VCU, those type of schools would creep up on these schools because you had 4 seniors or 5 seniors on this floor saying, this ain't my last game, as opposed to such and such on the other side. It's like Ben Simmons is like, I don't give a shit about this school. You know what I mean? I'm out of here regardless. So I think that the vets being invested in there, it helps a huge amount.
Specifically, though, answer this one for me. Why is they had the national championship, not a small matter, squeezed in there, but why is it specifically Tony Bennett and UVA seem to keep getting got more than any of the other heavyweights in the tourney?
I think they're one of those teams that what I've noticed over these, I mean, we played them at one point. They are offensive with their defense. They are one of those teams that think that we're just going to hold you the entire time. We're just going to wear you down and grind you down. And we're okay with this being a 56-58 game if we come out with 58. And the problem is the tournament, you haven't seen these teams throughout the year. They're probably smaller. They're better at running. And now you have this team that's like, it's at times, it's almost like it's like if you got a street fight and you got one guy that walks out and he does the karate stance and he's all stiff, and the other guy just comes in swinging. It's like, obviously you're not going with the guy swinging every time, but that is the energy these schools are coming with, and kind of the dual match they're used to doing with other ACC teams isn't there anymore, and that throws them off. But them in particular, it seems to be a offensively defensive-minded team, and that just, you can't always be like that.
I like that metaphor, the karate guy versus the guy that's out there swinging. You can get knocked out no matter what.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, so I went to the Ohio State University, and I'm a Big Ten guy, and I wasn't a Big Ten guy before I went there, but I'm a Big Ten guy now. And the Big Ten had 8 teams in the tournament, but it's only one team left in Michigan State. And it's always seeming like they're the ones that hang around. And I personally have a vendetta against them because that's the only school that I ever lost to twice while I was in college. So what is keeping Michigan State here, staying, constantly coming back in the Sweet 16 again, but everybody else on a regular occurrence in the Big Ten, you need keep falling off?
I mean, I think in large part, Michigan State, you got to give it to Tom Izzo and that alumni base. I've heard from several of their players, they get players because the incoming players are talking to the vets. Draymond is still a presence. Valentine is still a presence. Yogi Ferrell is still a presence. Not Yogi, that's Indiana. Sorry. Cassius Winston?
Yeah, Cassius Winston. Yes.
Thank you so much. Shay, I swear it was like, you owe me a soda. That's Jinx. But no, like guys like that, you have these guys that, number one, are usually going to stay there longer, obviously excluding Magic. But you got these guys that are going to stay in school longer and kind of help build up the program. So he has always had kind of like the Coach K ideal of, all right, I might get a one and done here. I might get a couple guys who are going to go to the league, maybe 2 or 3, but I need a good 3 or 4 seniors. And if that's a couple walk-ons and a couple players, that's fine. But I need seniors to keep this grounded. So I think Michigan State does a great job of that, where a lot of the Big Ten seems to be struggling of what their identity is moving forward. You know what I mean? I as you know, football, to me, I associate the Big Ten with football more than anything.
Yeah.
And it seems like as that machine gets louder and louder, the basketball schools in those conferences are like, they're trying to, you know what I mean? It's a weird dynamic they're trying to figure out. But
trying to survive.
That's the game.
Where do we talk about blue bloods, and this season has been a down one collectively. Pretty much they're still UCLA. And if we modify what we think makes a blue blood, I think if there was a 2.0 class of blue bloods, your Nova team would be a part of that. Michigan State would be a part of it. And Gonzaga, this deep into the Gonzaga run, what do we make of them? Do they count as a Cinderella at this point? How are we to regard this team?
Hell no, I don't count as a Cinderella. I'm waiting for Gonzaga to win. I mean, this would be great, with Timmy leading them. This would be great for them to do it this year. After getting so many close in the last couple of years, it would be nice to see them finally get one. I personally have Alabama, but I've never looked at Gonzaga as a Cinderella, man. They march through the year. You know what I mean? For some reason, March come, they get the Space Jam juice. But I'm hoping this is as chaotic as it's been. It would be nice to see on a positive note, Gonzaga gets one.
So I want to ask, why are they so consistent? Because if you really think about it, if you talk about Power 5, they're not in a Power 5 conference. They're in the middle of nowhere, Washington. Why are they so consistent? They have great coaching, but other than coaching, why are they so consistent while a lot of other schools can't?
I mean, that school is very much on board with that team. You know what I mean? These kind of like East Bumble schools, you'll see like the student base is just like, listen, they ride or die, and the entire school goes for it. But Mark Field's a great system. You know what I mean? It's if you look at the players he recruits, it's usually from the Pacific Northwest. He kind of recruits within the region. And anybody that tells you different parts of the country don't have different playing styles is not paying attention. From the East, there's a reason the Big East is such a physical conference. There's a reason the Big Ten is such a physical conference. Like, look at the people. But on the West Coast, the game, you look at the Paul Georges of the world, he's probably one of the best examples. The game is finesse and skill. And he constantly gets guys like that kid, Dusty Stromer, high school phenom. He's going there next year. He looks like a little baby Ingram. You know what I mean? He constantly gets guys who just have great skill, and it puts them in this system that allows them to flourish within the ranks of the system. And it's like, I think he just has a great formula. You know what I mean? I put it on the coach.
I want to hear from you about Princeton, talk about a region of the country and what they're doing in that particular brand of ball. But you bring up the Big East, and so it forces me to ask about St. John's and their new guy, Rick Pitino. I've long said, you talk about a style.
Yeah.
Can Rick Pitino go in and bring back St. John's, first of all? And can he do it just by saying, I don't know why no one in New York City ever says this, go outside the city limits and you're a traitor to New York City. We are the hotbed in America for talent. We just need to recruit our own locals, and we'll be back on the scene. How say you?
I don't want to BS you. I don't have the answers for him. I got to be honest. The whole thing was like, what? And then the Ed Cooley news hits right after, and it was like, what's going on? Like, I got to believe after what he did. First of all, let me say, I do think he can work. I do think his coaching style works in today's game. You look at what he did at Iona, but I don't know in the Big East. It's kind of, he's kind of like the ultimate Big East villain, him coming back in this way, like in new life. It's kind of with another red school. Like it's almost storybook like, but I gotta be honest, I don't know. St. John's to me is kind of like the Knicks, and it's hilarious. They're in the same city, but there's just like this like stench around them that it's like, until they figure it out, I have no idea what to think. For the Knicks, it was Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. But you know what I mean? For St. John's, I have no idea. I hope he's it. Because
you're saying Chris Mullin's not walking through that door is what you're telling me.
I don't see it happening. I see it being very like, let's just keep this quiet. You know what I mean? Go out there and win. And that's it.
Hey, so you play with Jay Wright at Villanova. Last year, he retired from coaching. He's with TV nowadays, with TNT throughout the tournament. Do you think that Jay is done with coaching, or does he make a comeback?
I hope he is, man. I don't want to see a comeback from Coach Wright and coaching. I just don't. And it's weird, I can't not call him Coach Wright, but I just don't. It's kind of like Jordan with the Wizards. Like, we could have did without this. Like, it was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. You know what I mean? Like, if he does it, it'll be cool because it's him. But I don't want to see. I'd rather it just be he was Villanova guy, and that was the story, and that was it. Because I don't know where else he would coach that would even look right.
NBA, maybe, but you know what? Before Jordan played for the Wizards, he played for the Bulls. And before the Bulls were a dynasty, the Lakers were a dynasty, which brings us back to you on Winning Time. Who are you playing on that show?
Robert Parrish, believe it or not. It's funny you brought him up.
Oh, yeah, wow. That's fun.
Yeah. They, when they take my facial hair, I look a lot different as most of us men do. But yeah, no, it was they had me do an audition and somebody kind of saw it. I had my facial hair kind of low and they was like, just sit there and look real stoic for a minute. And I was like, all right, obviously could do the basketball stuff. And they sent me a couple lines. And I think because of his demeanor, it wasn't far off from mine. I'm a little bit more animated, but that kind of relaxed, chill demeanor, it was easy to get in character for him. So I hope I did good. I don't know.
That's crazy that you haven't seen how you look yet, you know. But
oh my God, man.
I think it's gonna be phenomenal, man. You know, just that's a phenomenal show, and I look forward to catching you on there, man. I just want to say thank you, Ray, for joining us.
I appreciate that, man. Thank y'all for having me.
Great stuff, Ray. Best wishes with that. I guess you're going to be a villain to at least people on the West Coast, NBA fans going up against Kareem and all of those guys. That's going to be good times to check that one out. Looking forward to it. In the meantime, continued success on Twitch talking about this tournament. It's running out fast. It's going to be gone before we know it, so we better drink it all in here. All the Cinderellas and all the rest of it.
Oh, man. Thank y'all, man. Thank y'all for having me on once again. This was fun.
No problem. My bracket is destroyed right now. So.
Thanks again to D-Ray for joining us today. Next up, OBJ might be making a comeback somewhere soon in the NFL, but where, Shazier? Where?
Don't call it a comeback.
Time for some other comeback stories in the news we need to give a look at this week. This is the Check Down. NFL free agency is kind of sort of winding down, the first wave at least, but Odell Beckham is still out there. Dan Orlovsky suggested the Pittsburgh Steelers take a run at him. Shazier, how's that hit you in the ear?
Oh, man, OBJ at the Steelers. So what I thought immediately about this, I was like, man, that puts us right up there in the conversation of having one of the better receiving corps in the league, right? Because obviously, it's a lot of big name guys, but I really thought about this because people was saying, once you add Darnell Mooney and you add DJ Moore and Chase Claypool, they become one of the best receiving corps. So I was like, if that's the case, if you add OBJ to the Steelers, we immediately become one of the best receiving corps because Deontay Johnson, obviously he didn't score a touchdown last year, but I think his production, besides touchdowns, was still one of the better receivers in the league. Darius Slay, who was the top corner in the league, said that he was the third best receiver that he went against all last season, and he went against a number of great receivers last year. I think, it'll be great for him. The one thing that I still think it'll be kind of dicey is just how does he fit? Because at the end of the day, there's some people like OBJ, which is a great player, but he's going to want a volume of catches. He's going to want a volume of targets because at the end of the day, he wants, a longer contract. He wants to be the guy. And in my eyes, I feel that Deontay is the guy now, but we have a 1A and a 1B with George. I can definitely see George becoming the guy next year. And if we bring Odell in, it's going to give all of them one-on-ones, allow more rushing lanes, allow Pat Freiermuth to get all those red zone targets. But I just don't think there's enough targets around for all of them to get it because we like to run the ball. I understand teams like the Chiefs and the Bengals throw the ball a lot. I feel Kenny can do it, but I think at the end of the day, we like to play a more balanced game. And if you add Odell, I feel we're gonna have to throw the ball a little bit more so everybody can get the targets that they feel like they deserve. And I feel he can help, but I don't think he's gonna help us get to the championship the way we want it.
I agree. I thought you were going down a road where I was going to call two football playing analysts kooks who think they're talking about fantasy football. In real football, this is a senseless thought. In fact, I saw it coming. Khan and Weidel have done exactly what I thought they would do. Load up with some nasty guys at the line of scrimmage, and they still seek and hopefully have found some by committee, some capable, at least, replacement for one Ryan Shazier many years later here. I hope they finally have gotten it right with a couple of the free agent ads they've just made there at inside linebacker. Meantime, Aaron Rodgers emerged from his darkness and declared he was coming back for more football, but the Jets are his next team, apparently. But as of this recording, still no deal done there. Shazier, will Rodgers regret going to the Jets? Or flip it around, will the Jets regret signing Aaron Rodgers?
The only thing I think that it'll be a regret is if Aaron tries to go there and he tries to get a max deal. So if Aaron tries to go there and try to get, hey, I'm Aaron Rodgers, 5-time MVP, give me this max contract, I think that's when it becomes a regret for both teams. And the reason I say that is because obviously they have a young team. They can afford giving him a big contract. But once you give Aaron that big contract, you're losing all the pieces that you just built up. So you hit on both of your rookies this year. And you got to think about it. If Bryce didn't get hurt, he might have won Rookie of the Year. So they hit on all three of their first round rookies. Bryce went second. And then if Aaron goes there, you have Quentin Williams that needs to get paid. You have guys that need to get paid. And I just don't, I think it's going to be so much money going to Aaron, then it's going to help them in the short term. I feel like they can get a championship, kind of like how the Broncos were able to get one. But giving him all this money is going to put them in a situation where now you can't build anything after because you can't afford nobody else. So I don't know if they'll win a championship, but I think him going there with that defense, with that core of weapons, that young core of weapons, I think they can definitely win one. But I just feel if you give him all that money, it's going to be a really tough hill for them to climb after he leaves.
I feel for Joe Douglas. I feel for long-suffering Jets fans. Obviously, desperation is a powerful drug, clearly, but people are ignoring. He is in year 40 now. There was 45-year-old Brady. You cannot compare anyone else to him, so throw him out. Warren Moon had a good season at age 41 with the Seahawks. Outside of that, no one, including Peyton or Roethlisberger or anyone else, has been good this deep into their career. I think it is an overreach a little bit, and never mind the off-field weirdness.
Before you get to the next topic, though, but if you really think about just the play style of quarterback, if you're not talking about championships, just the play style of quarterback, I don't think there's been any quarterback just if from the naked eye you watch every single game that has been better than him for how long he has played, besides probably Patrick Mahomes, but Patrick Mahomes has not played that long. If you just naked eye, the only quarterbacks you could possibly think of are probably Dan Marino and, Joe Montana. But I think just his style of play, he doesn't get hit that much. He understands how to whip the ball. I think he still has a lot left in him. If he got, 3 more years in him, I think the Jets will take 3 years if they can mess around and win one championship.
Well, I said it in 2010 in the regular season. This guy is going to go down as one of the all-time greats. He's the most gifted thrower I've ever seen in my life. Well, since this side of Patrick Mahomes, at least. Miami basketball has been on a tear lately. Not once, but twice they beat my Indiana Hoosiers in the men's and women's tournament. Women's team just came back from being down 17 points to knock off Oklahoma State as well. I mentioned the Sweet 16 win in Bloomington. Shazier, is every sports program at the U making a comeback except the football program?
It seems like it. It definitely seems like it. Miami is known for football. They're known for track and field. They're known for baseball. But right now, it seems that. But the one thing that they're known for is not stepping up to the plate, and that's football. And to me, the basketballs, they're doing well. They finished, I think, second in the ACC this year. They end up beating Pitt for the last game of the season to take that first spot away from Pitt. But their basketball team has been killing, and they're fun to watch right now in March Madness. But the only reason that I don't feel that we should just write the U off yet is because I have a little bit of bias. Both of my godbrothers are both going there. One's transferring from UCF and the other one is a high 4-star recruit. And I think with both of them playing cornerback there, they're going to shut down the field. So, but without my bias, I think the U definitely has to do a lot better. They stole the running back that we had going to Ohio State in their recruiting class. He's a really good running back, and we expected a lot from him coming in. So they definitely, this recruiting class that they got this year was a high potent one, and they got a lot of good talent. So we just got to see what they can do with the talent that they have, because Miami always going to have speed. They're always going to have guys with a lot of athleticism, but you just got to make sure that they can all play together, and that's one thing that Miami hasn't been able to do consistently, and that's why the U is not the U right now. They're just Miami. So I think they have to figure stuff out, but on basketball-wise, man, the U's been playing solid all year, and the women's, they definitely can't win the championship. I know it's March Madness, anything can happen, but nobody's beating South Carolina in basketball for the women's side. And then for the men, it's just a luck of the draw. If your good players shoot well, they can mess around and win the championship. I don't see it happening, but if they keep performing like the way they're performing, anything can happen.
True. And second year of the regime for the football program down there looms large in the trajectory of what happens with Miami football going forward. WWE 2K is back. This year's version features John Cena on the cover. Shazier, have you played this one yet? And if so, who's your favorite wrestler to use?
I definitely played it. My wrestler name is King Shay. I already got the belt. I'm already the champion in the career mode. So yeah, I definitely, it's certain games that I like to play, and wrestling is one of them. And I have a few friends that I play the video game with, and we have beef sometime, and we always joke around. And that's one way we can settle our beef. We go into wrestling, and we play one-on-one. But I would say my favorite wrestler to use on the game, and he's still my favorite wrestler, is the guy that everybody loves, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. You know, he has the people's elbow. You know, he does the, rock bottom. Man, it's really fun to play with him. And he's actually, we did like a little 6-way tournament last night with the users and a bunch of computers, and he ended up actually beating all of us. And it's rarely that the computer beat the user. So he's somebody that's fun to use. And then the only guy that's on the game that's a 99 right now is Roman Reigns, and he's been a champion for 2 straight years, and he's definitely fun to play with when he's on that game.
Do they have like Coco Beware available? Because that would be more my speed. Or maybe Ivan Putski, the Polish Hammer. Remember those guys?
They have Bruno San Martino. They have Bruno on there.
The living legend. Ironically not living, but still. Yeah.
They have, the Ultimate Warrior. They have Hulk Hogan. They have older guys in there. They have guys that you probably use and that you enjoy watching when you were younger and you're in the 40s,
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, it was 1952 when I was 11 years old. As we've discussed before on the show, John Wick is on its way back. Chapter 4 is out this weekend. Keanu Reeves, somehow still in his prime. Shazier, if you could pick any action star of all time, who would you cast for the ultimate action movie?
Man, that's hard. So it's a combination of what do you want? So do I want box office numbers, or do I just want to have a phenomenal movie? Because if it's box office numbers, I'm going with Dwayne Johnson. It's just, for some odd reason, if he's in a movie, man, it blows up. Everybody loves to watch whatever he puts out. But when it comes to just pure straight acting wise, man, that's a tough one, because you can go with, Christian Bale, you can go with Keanu Reeves. I can't remember the guy from Last of Us name, but he's one of the best actors out there for sure. So when it comes to an action movie right now, I probably would go Keanu Reeves, because I don't think any character that's not a superhero 101 is going to beat John Wick. So I would have to go with Keanu Reeves if it's just acting wise and just pure acting and talent. But when it goes to like, hey, I'm trying to make the most bang on my buck and money wise, I'm definitely going The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
All right, 2 things very quickly. One, if you had action hero characters fight each other, I've said it before and I'll tell it to you again, Jason Bourne would beat all. If it's a bare hands fight, he would beat John Wick easily. But the GOAT of them all is Harrison Ford. He just presented to the movie. He was out there at the Academy Awards, and it occurred to me, when's he going to get his Oscar already? Short Round from Indiana Jones got an Oscar, but Indiana Jones doesn't have one. Han Solo, Rick Deckard from Blade Runner, John Book, and on. A president who beats up terrorists 30,000 feet in the sky. It's Harrison Ford. That's the correct answer. And I'm glad we had this conversation.
I know we're not allowed to cuss on this podcast, but it ain't no goddamn way that Harrison Ford is beating John Wick. John Wick is going to whip his ass. That's all I have to say right now.
You don't know the powers of Dr. Indiana Jones. You don't understand the grit that he brings to the table.
Yeah, you can swing on all the ropes you want, and you just get shot in the face. It's over with.
Now you're making me angry. I'm going to lighten it up a little bit and remind you that Ted Lasso is back for season 3. Shazier, how would you do as a soccer coach, especially if you had to go abroad to do it?
Oh man, I love soccer. The biggest thing that I would do, and even if I was a coach nowadays, I would have so many people on my staff that are veteran at what they do, that my job is just to give the message of how I want us to succeed. So basically, as I'm coaching, I'm going to have everybody constantly teaching me the ins and outs, having me like a Wade Phillips as my D coordinator or whatever. Obviously, they don't have D coordinators, but just have people that are very significant, very efficient at what they do as my assistant coaches. But man, it just depends on what team you're on, because over there, man, it's pure talent, man. Some of the best teams you just stack with great individuals, and it's just based off of how when you pick guys in and when you want to be aggressive and when you don't want to be aggressive. But I think I'd be all right. I would definitely be called a wanker a few times, but because I know we're gonna lose some games we're not supposed to lose. But at the end of the day, I think I can do as good as Ted.
All right, wanker. That is it for this episode of Don't Call It a Comeback.
Hey, so make sure to follow, rate, and review the show on wherever you're listening, and check us out on YouTube on the Wondery channel. And make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. See you all next week.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been waiting on this moment my whole life. Can't call it a comeback. Everybody to your feet, make arenas rise. Yeah, I'm saying from the left to right, we get it on tonight. We do it all, but we don't back down. Just give me one shot, one chance, I'ma take it. Fixing up the game, but these records I keep on breaking.